Welcome to Cosmic RX Radio, a podcast that gives you real-life tools of spiritual empowerment and pure hype. I'm your host and intuitive guide, Maddie Murphy. Hey, Cosmic Baddies. Welcome back to the show at Cosmic RX Radio. Today's episode is a little different as we get ready to launch in the Cosmic Zone into the world. Today's episode, I'm pulling back the curtain a little bit and sharing a part of my personal journey that I don't always lead with, but that is absolutely foundational to who I am today. My experience going to shaman school. Yep, you heard that right. As part of this lead up to the book launch, I wanted to give you a little bit more of a BTS look into who I am, the path that brought me here to this moment, and also a little bit inside of, what I really do in my mentorship practice. So not only is this episode about shaman school, which 100% changed me forever for the better, but it's extra special because I'm being interviewed by my cousin, who also happens to be my first spiritual teacher and the most amazing, magnetic, wise, yummy, joyful, but also soulful, deep Scorpio, the deepest Scorpio you'll ever meet. And this is, my journey with shaman school is something that if someone knows me from the community or my private mentorship practice, I get asked about it a lot. And I touch on it in my book and it's mentioned a few times. But I wanted to take a moment to go deeper here. Not only do I love hearing people's stories of how they ended up where they ended up, but I wanted to share this, especially for those of you who might have been feeling or starting to feel some sort of intuitive nudge or whisper from spirit that is nudging you in a new direction. And even if you're not totally sure why, you're going to hear me talk about what led me to shaman school is so beyond the Virgo, practical, pragmatic, analytical part of my brain. It was really a moment where I think my Pisces moon totally took over. And currently we're under the North Node in Pisces. So I have a feeling that a lot of you are being led into this place, right? Of just deep trust. And, as I wrote about in the Cosmic Zone, shaman school was really a chance to help me strengthen my mystical muscle. And it really helped me ground into the spiritual world in a way that felt safe and aligned and in integrity. And it really taught me a lot about trust. And it taught me a lot about being what they call an earth keeper. And one of the people who are alive on this planet right now, who is trying to bridge the spirit realm to the earth realm. So I am very excited to share this little sneak peek into a part of my journey, into a part of me entering my personal cosmic zone, really going through this shamanic initiation cracked me open in a way I will never forget. It really transformed how I live, lead, love, serve, and the teachers I sat with and the humans I walked that path with are my forever beloved, just deep soul buddies on this ride. So if you've been curious more about what it means to either trust your intuition, or maybe you're interested in going to the same shaman school that I went to, or if you just want to hear about a spiritual path that's a little messy, a whole lot of magical, and a sprinkle of mystical, this one is for you. I hope you enjoy this glimpse into the behind the scenes of my becoming. And if you're watching this on YouTube, drop an emoji in the comments if you've ever felt the call to go deeper through healing or spiritual path, or if you've taken a hilariously similar non-linear journey or signed up for something that a previous version of you would be like, you're doing what now? Shaman school? Okay, sis. I'd love to know what's been showing up for you lately or as part of your life journey. Anyway, let's get into it. Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live, new, and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional, international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com. And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.
Okay, perfect. Okay, first of all, I love you. I'm so happy to be here with you. It's a blessing for me to like just sit in space with you always. And I immediately feel emotional. I just like really feel our mothers here with us.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not very professional.
No, we're always.
But I feel it
tears are
so
always part of
strongly.
the podcast. Me too.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
feel
that.
it so
I felt that all
strongly.
morning.
Mhm. And we talk about this a lot, but the brave souls that our mothers were and the trailblazers that our mothers were in the way of honoring the earth and honoring their spiritual path and honoring their calling
Yes.
and walking in a way that was true to their medicine and their gifts and the courage with which they like moved through the world. Just like really feeling that here, feeling that, we'll talk about it, but the lineage that our teacher Stephen carries, he's a lineage holder of this path. And before we started, when you were just kind of invoking the ancestors and the directions and saying that prayer, I could just really feel, I remember very clearly when we first started talking about shaman school, having a little bit of a thing on my shoulder, like, I don't know, like, I'm not a shaman, like, that doesn't resonate, like, that feels a little bit like appropriation, and like, what are you talking about? And I remember like saying that to Stephen in one of our first conversations, and him saying, what we're trying to do is create the energy of keeping this earth, of protecting and loving this earth. And we're here to like infuse our energy, like marry and dance our energy with the energy of the earth and the energy of the stars and the energy of the trees and the wind and the animals and all the other humans. He's like, and that's what's wanted from the medicine. He's like, so call it what you will. He's like, talk about it how you want. He's like, but it's like, are you ready to take on the responsibility of being an earth keeper? And I was like, oh yeah, that like that that I can get behind.
Absolutely.
Like no confusion for me in that. So I feel all that. So I just wanted to say that. And really, I'm so glad to be here with you to talk about this. And
Me too.
you were my gateway to shaman school. I never would have found it without you. You were my teacher in that way and my way shower in that way. And so I just really want to honor you, honor Stephen, honor the medicine by, speaking about it as clearly as possible and as humbly, but also like earnestly as possible, the way that it shifted my life, the way I've seen it impact you. And then importantly, the ways that I know it's changing or not changing, like grounding us into our medicine and our strength in a way that I know is changing the trajectory of our children's lives and of our people we work with's lives and our community's lives. And the power of that is like this kind of soft, subtle, earth-shaking power. And I just want to
Absolutely.
anyone like I want to
Anyone, if this sounds like something that sounds good for you, it's so true. We had talked about before we clicked record. I was like, this is gonna be really hard for me. And it's the most beautiful. I could talk about shaman school all day, but also hard to articulate what really happens, right? When you go through this initiation. And thank you for trusting me, because you have been my spiritual teacher, since day one, and definitely since my Saturn return, when I started actively like being like, no, but literally WTF is happening. And like, you just would give me like some kind of crumb to hold on to. And then I'd run back to like, my little East Village apartment and be like, okay, Kirsten gave me this one thing to like meditate on, to chew on, like everything's gonna be okay. And then I would sort of get like the gas tank go down and empty. I'd see you again. I'd sit at your feet and be like, what are you reading? What are we talking about? And so you helped me like, really pull myself out like one little golden thread at a time out of a very like, blowing off a bomb in my life. But luckily, like one of the best things I ever did. But like you need those people and those teachers who just like take you and like, it's gonna be okay. And like, I also don't have it all figured out, but I just know a few spiritual truths that are illuminating the path right now. And same with your mom, and same with my mom. Like, I've been very lucky to have my like spiritual mentors like baked in, through our bloodline.
Yeah, totally.
But there was this moment that I was sort of like, okay, and I think a lot of people listening might resonate with this. We were like, okay, but like, there's something like else that I'm ready for, and it's actually maybe not like I've read a lot of books. I've done even certain like certifications and attunements, and I just think it's such a personal moment where you're just like, I'm just like ready for this next activation, this next grounding. And like you said, it shifts everything. Like
Yeah.
your power, your ability to hold medicine, your connection to something so much bigger than you. And it's so humbling, but it's also so like uplifting all at once. And I thank you for trusting me, because I'm like, you've always been the one who's guided me. And I was like, I don't know. In some ways, I'm like, I feel like Kirsten, she has this. I just pointed out your chart. You have like a bajillion planets in Scorpio in the sixth house. Like, she knows about the work, the rituals, the devotion. But I remember thinking, like, I'm like, I feel like you're kind of ready, but I don't really know how to tell you what to experience because I don't know how to articulate it. But I was like, just see. And you went and just exactly what my heart knew, but that my mind and my vocabulary were more limited in. I've seen you go through this, and it's an initiation. It just is like,
Totally.
you're you, but now you're just like, yeah, more grounded in your gifts, like really firm. And I feel like shaman school really clears out a lot of
Yes.
the bullshit, like, or
Yes.
anything that might be like entanglements or things that are taking up energy that are not for you. And it just gets you so clear, right?
Totally. Yes. I have so much I could say. I mean, I think there's this idea in shamanism, right, in the initiations, that one of the things your teachers do is they plant like a seed. Like all of the initiations are
Mm.
these seeds that are kind of like handed to your field. And then your being takes that seed and creates like the flower, the like medicine,
Mhm.
the herbs, whatever needs to come from it. And that's why it's both subtle and like undeniable at the same time. And
Mhm.
so before because I could talk about that forever.
Yeah,
Would
yeah, yeah.
you talk to me? So like, I remember you being in shaman school.
Mhm.
Can you kind of just like remind me of what that
Yes.
path was like for you and how you walked through those doors?
Yes, it was so fun, and I actually just, wrote about this in my book, and so when I was, like, reading I was, like, just spirit is so real. Spirit is so real. If you're listening here, you know that. If you're it's like, but the ways that we find our ways to things are so funny, and talk about, like, that which is meant for me is not will not miss me. So I
Totally.
had this, again, like, been on a path for many years, studying different things, reading things, just kind of in that spiritual hunger mode. Like, every workshop I could get to, every podcast I could listen to, soaking it up. And I was starting to do moon circles on my own and Montauk, but everything felt very like disparate and very piecemeal. Kind of like, am I doing, what is this? I don't know what I'm doing, but it's something and I like it. But I was looking for a little bit more, something structure, something more grounding. And I, thought I knew what maybe that was. But then I had my coffee shop in Brooklyn, and one of our amazing, like, talented artists had made this beautiful, huge unicorn chalkboard in front. And it was like, come fly high, the unicorn latte. And one day, this woman, very chic, very well dressed, comes in and she's like, who's the owner of this place? And like, what is the deal with this unicorn like latte? Like, what's happening here? And we got a lot of people like that, but there was something very different about her. And she left a business card and a little like pouch of crystals. Cause I also used to not tell people, as though I'm like, I don't want to talk to every single person that comes in here. So I'd be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
was sitting there, I was like, and my like staff was looking at me and I was like, we're not gonna like just, and then she dropped off the crystal pouch and I was kind of like, oh. And so I actually followed her out, and the reason I followed her out is because the night before I had this very vivid dream about ravens, and she was wearing this like
Mm.
scarf that had all like skulls and ravens on it. And I was like, this is so interesting. And I'm just blah, blah, blah telling her, I'm like, I had a dream about ravens. I thought I'd talk to you. Like, are you selling something? Or are you like, do you want to sell something in my shop? What's happening? And she's like listening to me, and we're talking with the unicorn latte. And she's like, okay. And this dream, she's like, you really need to go to shaman school. And she's like, I'm, you know, part of this school. You really need to go. And same as you. I was like, lady, I'm a lot of things. I am a blonde girl from Long Island. Like, I'm not a shaman. Like, there's a lot of things I'm interested in, but that just felt really like, again, either off limits / had no idea what that really even meant. I was
Yeah.
just like, I don't do like
Yeah.
ayahuasca with people. I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I even conjured up. I was like, what? But then the thing that is kind of crazy is that actually months before this, I had a dream about my paternal grandfather. And in the dream, he was in a rocking chair in a plaid blanket, and he said the word shaman to me. And my paternal grandfather, a fisherman, you know, up in Hunts Point, New York City, like this guy, not Mr.
Thinking about shamanism.
Not thinking about shaman. So I was like, why did my paternal grandpa, like John Murphy, like tell me
Oh,
about
I remember.
shaman? Then I was like, should I go on a retreat? Like I looked up stuff, but it was either like so expensive, just out of my realm of possibility. And luckily, this woman, this chic woman with the crystals and the business card, she came to my shop again. She's like, you have to go, you have to go. And I was like, I can't, I'm running these two businesses, I'm too busy, I have no money, I can't do this, I don't know what this is like. And then we went on a journey with the Starbucks ordeal.
Mhm.
And we ended up like going to court with them. We sued them, we didn't get the money, but we did get a little settlement of something as its own like long epic karmic battle. For me, it was very spiritual. And by the end of it, like after we paid like the mediator and the this and the that, the amount that I got to walk away with was to the dollar what shaman school was.
Yes. Sounds about right.
So I was like, okay,
Yes.
spirit,
Yes.
this is undeniable, because I kept praying, right? I was like, if
Yeah.
I'm meant to walk through a door, don't just make it a little door, like blast this thing wide
Make
open,
it
because
so
I am
obvious, please.
so dense. I am so dense as a human. Like, make it obvious. And then, of
I know
course,
you're
like
dense, but you were living like 8 lives at once during
8
that
lives
time
at
in your life.
once, right?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
running all these businesses, doing a million things, so
Yes.
scattered, so like, and so I was like, okay, I got that check, and I was like, all right, like, Stephen, here we go. What is the thing? I have no idea. And I doubted every part of this to like, I got there, off the plane, I'm there by myself. I'm like, what am I doing? Should I just like turn around? I felt so like out of place, out of sorts, until was introduced to the man who was from the was previous shaman class, had been hosting us on his property, and he was selling all these beautiful gorgeous wares on behalf of some people that he had met in Peru. And I was like, this is great, I love this, thanks for having us here. He's like, yeah, take my business card, hit me up anytime, enjoy like your weekend, your training, it's gonna change your life. It's the best thing I ever did for myself. And his name, John Murphy. So I was like,
Classic.
all right, grandpa, I see you. I don't know, you are up to something. And so then it just took me on a journey, and I never looked back. After I saw that John Murphy on the business
Yeah,
card, I was like, I'm in the exact right place. And from there,
totally.
it was just the best feeling of, I kept telling my, now husband, I was like, I feel like I'm like coming home. I feel like I've been here before. This feels so like familiar and but new, and it just felt so right. And yeah, and then it just like completely changed my very being from the inside and out. But it was such, and I, as anyone who's listening might know, like there's just those moments where spirit's like, no, I'm gonna get you there. I don't
Yeah,
like, you're being so as being so in my head about it. And but like the soul was like, no, you're meant to be here. And I'm so grateful, like every single day of my life, that's how obvious it was. Because I really
absolutely.
measure my life pre-shaman school and post-shaman school.
Totally, 100%. And shout out to John Murphy, who's still involved with Shaman School down in Nashville, and him and his partner Dennis have built. They are like partially, you and them are my kind of like Shaman School lighthouses, because I'm
Mhm.
seeing the way the medicine keeps
Mhm.
unfolding in your lives, like 2 or 3 years in front of me. And I
Yes.
admire you, obviously adore and admire you, and I'm so proud of you. And then I also look at John and Dennis and I'm like, whatever they've got going on, I want that in my life. Like, I love them. They're
Exactly.
incredible people. Yes.
Incredible, incredible, and just living, right, like this full,
Yes.
vibrant, brilliant expression of themselves while being of service, while having fun,
Totally.
while like, yes, and that's, I think, what's really cool is the people. And I had felt that way about my teacher. I was like, at the time, Colleen McCann was co-teaching with with Steven, and I didn't know Steven because he had a very elusive internet presence, right? But Colleen, I followed her on social
Right.
media. I remember being like, I like whatever this woman is working with. I like it. I want
Mhm.
it. I want to try some more of it.
Totally. And I think that yeah, Stephen is our teacher who runs the shaman school that we're referring to, and he is not found on the internet broadly. I mean, I actually would probably credit him with that. Like it's because he's actually doing the work. He's
No,
actually in the woods doing
it's
the work.
actually like the biggest green flag of all
Yes,
time. Like it's
100%.
he's who I want to be. Like I'm
Yeah.
like I would love to just as much as I love all of this and all of you, like
Yes.
one day, like catch me some smoke in the woods, like how you find.
Yes.
And I've always joked that's how I want to be. And Steven is that, and
He
he's
is that.
just
I say like when I try to describe him, I'm like, it's literally sometimes he reminds me of like a tree come to life. Like I don't know
a
how to
tree.
explain. Like
No,
there's something so clean and pure and like earthy about him and so generous about him. And anyways, we could talk about him forever. Okay, so I love that. And I will tell you that my experience was I saw you go through this. I saw the moment and you have always been you are hard on yourself the way you speak to yourself. You're not as scattered and dense as you would make yourself appear.
now
You
I
are
feel a little better, but that time,
well,
Kirsten, that time.
so time, but like you were doing so much. You were
Yeah,
doing
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
much and you were really in it with your whole heart, Maddie. Like
Yeah.
you were really trying to build things and make things and create like a life for yourself and you were in it with your whole heart. And there's nothing but like beauty in that from my perspective. And then watching you go through it and honestly what got me was I was craving more ritual and ceremony in my life. And like
Yes.
intuitively I had been studying for a long time. I'd studied with beautiful teachers. My practice felt solid. Like I felt like I knew what was happening in my body. I knew where my work was. I
Mm,
knew what my daily practice and like intentionality was. My children were very much, they were younger, so they were very much the focus of my life. My
mm-hmm.
marriage was ending, I think, around the same time, maybe before that. So like I was very, like I knew where I needed to be. But because I have this Taurus rising, because I have this kind of interest in the world, right? Like the things I can touch, this idea of
Yes.
having more structure and more um, clarity around how to really
Yes.
embrace the and kind of feed the part of my soul that really was craving like ritual, ceremony. And also, I think I did it post COVID, right? So, like,
Yes.
Salt House had gone through my retreat space had gone through its own evolution. My two partners who were like, you know, my heart sisters, the two women I loved working with, their lives had changed because of COVID. We were doing a lot of stuff online. We started to bring it back into the real world. And I wanted it to take on a like a not even a gravitas, but
Mm-hmm.
like a weight. I wanted the
Mm-hmm.
ceremony and the ritual to have maybe what I was craving was the lineage that we
The
step into,
lineage.
right? Like I
Mm-hmm.
wanted not just what's coming from Kirsten, but like what's
Yes.
coming from the medicine, the teachers that Kirsten is trying to bring into your life, right? That she's trying to bring into the space. And I remember you sent me like photos and you guys were dressed up and there was like mandalas on the floor. And I was like, where are you going to make 5 mandalas and dress up? Because I'm in, like, send me there. And it took me a couple of years. Like I couldn't quite like align with the classes. Maybe COVID was involved, something like that. Time is so confusing. I'm like, what happened? When did I do this? But you kept saying to me, you're gonna go. Like you're gonna know when you know, you're gonna go, you're gonna love Steven. I had also had at that time some disillusionment with male teachers. So I had some male teachers that had like, you
You don't
know,
say.
like not been as clean or as an integrity as I would
Mm-hmm.
as I imagined that they would be. So getting to know
Mm-hmm.
them as more human, which is a
Yes.
part of the journey, and that's like all cool. But I was like, I had a question. Like, are there men I can learn from
Yes.
that can be more devoted to the path than they are to their humanity? Or, you know, like, what is that like? And that's a big
Oh,
question. And I
that's a
didn't
big
answer
one.
that at all. But what Stephen restored in me was the understanding that I could learn from and trust a man with my spiritual heart and my spiritual journey in a way that felt incredibly clean and like flawlessly clean, like flawlessly
Flawlessly.
in integrity. Um,
Yeah.
and I like that was something I needed to trust again from like a male
Yes.
teacher. And
Yeah.
then John was also co-teaching with him at the time. So between John and Stephen, I had these two men show up in my life who
Yes.
just were so trustable. And
So
in
trustable.
this field, which is not always
Right.
the case.
Right. Because you come in, it's like anything that's not clean, come into a spiritual space will get so amplified by
Totally.
the ego. And we all know, like we've met a spiritual teacher you love, and you kind of do
Yep.
sort of like put them on a pedestal, especially if you're new, if you're a baby on the spiritual path. So of course, like an ego that's not completely clear
Yes.
sees that reflected and it gets amplified and it gets really distorted really fast. So you could tell Stephen, again, just like we're talking about the people whose work is like, carries the receipts for this,
Yes.
even being so clear. I'm like, he really walks the walk, and he has restored, I credit so much like of my healthy male relationships in my life. He restored something in me about like the holder of a sacred masculine energy. Like he expanded for me what it was possible, that's possible, that like
Mhm.
someone can be, and I have like beautiful men in my life, and
Me too.
but
Yeah.
it like I think I have been holding on to something very subconscious about men, and
Mhm.
seeing him. And I always joke that like if you're lucky enough to be loved by a Libra, you're lucky enough. But obviously it's like married to one. I have lots of Libras in my life that I love. And I do think Stephen is another beautiful Libra, true like wizard of like just holding that tree energy. He is a tree. He's like, I'm like, a tree has no ego. A tree is just like, let me hold you. Like, do you need some shade? Do you need like to be rooted in my branches? Do you need some fruit? Like, what do you need? Like, I'm here
Yeah.
for it. And he's also playful and
And
fun and doesn't take
curious, like
himself too seriously.
fundamentally curious, like about like
Yes.
never not thrilled to be there, like never not like,
No,
oh,
no,
that's so interesting. Not I know
no,
the answer, not this is what it
no.
is, but like tell me more. What's that like? Like
Yes.
that relentless but like joyful, playful curiosity can take things that are incredibly heavy. I mean, we both know from like you do a lot of excavation. You're doing excavation in shaman
Yes.
school, that's yours.
Yes.
And you're also doing it for your
Yes.
lineage, your ancestors, your historical like movements through the earth. And that's heavy. But Stephen, like this again, this playful, joyful curiosity he brings to it. Yeah, just this kind of, I guess, that poof energy, that like just lightness that he brings to it. That's such a gift.
He is really a testament to like you can be that light and airy because you've gone deep, 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 deep down, and he can really like traverse both. And I think what I loved about it, as someone who is like, I am very spiritual. Obviously, I'm I am deep, I am powerful, but I just like I am always gonna be a little goofy, a little messy. I'm never gonna be the person who's like, I just remember I'm sorry, this might be TMI, but I remember our first ritual. They gave us all of this like vegan food at the time. I don't know how it was when you went, but they were like very into like all vegan food. It was like no caffeine. I think since then they might have changed things a little bit, but I was like, okay. And there was another beautiful woman there helping, and Flamicia, and she was like has all eating. It was like kale and like beans, and I was like, and we're like sitting in our first ceremony, and I'm like, I just have to fart so badly. Like I, this is like literally one of the most sacred initiatory ceremonies I've ever been involved in. Like I can't even talk about it because it's probably like it's not even meant to be shared by human like words. But I was just like truly. But I also had this thing like of being a human when you're
My
also like
body.
having this really human thought of like, am I going to rip ass in the middle of the sacred ceremony? And I remember like, God, Maddie, this is why you're not even meant to be here. Like no one else is. This is not. Everyone else is just in the moment, right? Like everyone else is here, and then like the next day, of course, me being me, I like had to say it to Steven because like I can't hold anything back. I was like, that was great, but like my tummy. And of course, he's like, oh, good. Like your stomach was speaking to us. It was like right there, just releasing some old energy and whatever he said. And he laughed and he's like, tell me more about that. And he's like, okay. And this, that. And like, he was so sweet and so playful, and like we just made this like big joke of it. And then and he always called me the unicorn girl, and he's like, maybe that's like your unicorns talking to you, and like said it. And I was like, oh my God, like thank you for just letting me be me. And I think that
Like,
is so part of like that nurturing of the seed that we talked about, right? And he always says, he's like, I'm not here to turn you into some like cookie cutter version of a what you think a shaman is. And I don't like reference myself as that all the time. Like neither do you. They don't like go forward as a label. It's more of like, oh, a path that you're walking. He said the
Totally.
lineage. And he said, I'm here to really just bring up the next like generation of like self-referencing shamans
Yes.
where like
It's his
you know
favorite thing,
more
self-referencing
and
shaman.
self-referencing, right? Like you know more than you know. And he's like also, and he designed this shaman school because I had looked after the dream with my grandpa, I had looked up like the four winds and
Yes.
things. And one, it felt a little bit like not right for me. And it also felt like it was like 4 to 6 weeks in like Peru, the jungle. And I was like, I just can't, like, that's not my life. I have businesses, I have obligations. And he said that he designed this school with doing these weekends and then integrating and then doing a weekend and integrating so more people could like integrate this medicine. It could be available to more people. He's like, because what we need right now is
Yes.
like shamans that don't look one way or speak one way, that are in all different walks of life and bringing it in. And I remember when he told us that, it gave me like such that and being okay with like my gassy tummy was just like this like unclenching of like, okay, I don't have to be this like Virgo perfect A student of like, I am being the best, most like, holy presenting shaman. Because this was 2017 too. Like there was as many
Mhm.
conversations on the internet about just like,
Yes.
well, that's not
Different.
even what we want anymore. Right? Like that's not even
Mm-mm.
good. Like,
Mm-mm.
and so I just like give Stephen so much credit with like, again, the medicine is so powerful, but I see why he was like chosen to be like
Yes.
the keeper of this for people like us, because I think I would have been so ready at a moment's notice, like the one, hearing something like I can't be myself or I can't talk about being gassy, or I think I even wore like a gold lame unitard to one of our like crazy ceremonies because I had been dressed up that day as like my higher self, and then all of a sudden I was like, I can't believe I'm in this like ancient ceremony wearing like gold lame, and he was like, that's so you, I love this, like we love this for you. I think that's like so important in the work that he does. It's not like you don't have to be or present, you don't have to change anything about yourself on the outside. It's like taking this, integrating it, and like just becoming this more like, yeah, grounded version of you that's like way more clear and has
Yes.
this whole lineage at your back and like kind of endless possibilities in front of you. Right.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that's so important so just one thing to say about this is I think Stephen was also the only person that Alberto Viola, am I saying his name right,
Mm-hmm.
gave permission
Yes.
for this curriculum to be taught
Yes.
outside of the four winds. So
Yes.
Stephen, we talk about him like he is so good at what he does. He is so
Yes.
deeply practiced and he has an incredible like wind at his back to do this in the way that he's called to do it, which partially also includes more intimate groups. Like I think they
Yes.
do like hundreds of people at once. And he was like, no, I
Yes.
really wanted to kind of come back to these
Yes.
smaller groups. And that comes to the point of what you just said, having this lineage at your back, having this line that you kind of step towards, it can't be understated how much I lean on that. Like it can't be understated how when I am stuck, when I am lost, like the
Mm-hmm.
people I call on are the
Mm-hmm.
directions. So I call on the
Mm-hmm.
medicine of the directions. I call on the medicine of my mesa, which we can talk a little bit more, but it's like your
Mm-hmm.
prayer bundle, your like moving
Mm-hmm.
altar. Stephen talks about it as your heart that exists outside of your body. So
Mm.
it's this incredibly powerful medicine bundle that you create in your time in shaman school. Like it's really hard to explain the energetic charge it holds if you haven't experienced it, but it is like an ally and like your most trustable ally. And then on
Mm.
top of that, my IU, which is the group of women, mine was all
Yes.
women, the group of women that I traveled through shaman school with, these people will see you in ways that you really can't even see yourself, and they will
Mm-mm.
have like a compassion and a heart and um, a like they're in it with you for the ride.
Mm-mm.
And so when you
Yeah.
come to these points where you're like, I'm
Yeah.
stuck or I'm sad or I'm lost or I'm confused or anything that comes up, those are the people that I will shoot a text to and be like, remind
Yes.
me, like help
Yes.
me. And so we are very lucky. We come from a family that we have a lot of support. We've got a really big team, as we say, and we both have blessed with amazing communities. But I will tell you, like, when I am
Mm-hmm.
really on my knees, the
Yeah.
people I turn to, like God, I turn to
Yeah.
my medicine bundle, I turn to the directions, and
Mm-hmm.
I turn to my IU. And like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
at my most vulnerable, And because there's something about like witnessing each other on that path
Yes.
that's
No,
it's like you forge something deep with them. I don't know how else to
I'm
really
so happy
explain
you
it.
said that. No, it's two things that you've said that I just really want to touch on. If your soul is craving it, it's for a reason. One of them is, like you said, ritual and the things that ground us, and the physical representation of, your spiritual tools or spiritual support, whether that's learning so many different rituals
And
and
confidence in what you
practices,
said, the
and
self-referencing.
the
So bringing yourself to
confidence.
ritual, right? Sorry
Yes,
to interrupt, but I want to
yes,
say
and
that.
like, no, but the confidence, and your mesa, and working with this, and everything from the altar building to working with stone, just so many things. It just felt so important for me. Is again, like, I have a lot of sixth house energy like you, so ritual is very important to me. My Virgo, I really crave like the physical embodiment of something. I crave something to like interact with, touch, and the framework and the tools and the things that you get that are so incredibly charged from your time there are so potent. But what you said, the IU, the thing that made the difference of, like, again, it's hard for me to articulate what the medicine does. It's so energetic, it's so ancient, it's so timeless. My husband, I would come home from a weekend and he'd be like, whoa, you look different. Um and
100%.
and he'd
That's
be like,
real, by the
what do
way.
you do there? And I was like, I literally don't know. Like, I would come home and be like, I don't know, but I am different now. And like, and you go to some of the darkest, heaviest places, but you also go out to the most like holographic, sparkly places. And the whole
Totally.
ride, you go through it with these people. And at that moment in my life, again, like blessed with family, community, but I was not feeling confident in coming forward and being like, this is, whatever I want to be. Like, I kept getting these readings or having this feeling of like, you're meant to kind of step out into like some sort of different, our very Taurus kind of persistent grandmother was coming through in all these readings and be like, you got to gather the women, you got to gather people, you got to gather. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know how to, like, and it just gave me such the vulnerability and the visibility in this IU of walking this path with people. It's a mixture of like the best friends you ever had at camp, where you're like, our
Mhm.
bond is like so deep because we're in these things all day, in and out together, but also this feeling of like a soul family. Like, this was by design that we picked to be here, and we are witnessing
Totally.
each other in these very vulnerable or very like surreal, kind of like life changing moments. And so they're the ones like now, like I always say, I'm like the IU, like I was like crying our last day. Like I remember being like, and we had this like huge group chat and we check in, but even, mine was, we ended in 20, this is a funny other, we ended like 2019. And Steven's like, so guys, by the way, things are about to get really crazy out there. And I was like, so I need you all to like really stay in touch and have each other's back and like birth this new world together. And we're like, okay, sure. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I see you, Stephen. But that IU are some of my, yeah, I mean, godmother to Jordy from the IU, right? Like, my deepest friend, the people that I turn to, especially when I need that space held for me of like,
Yes.
I'm going through something, motherhood, the loss of my mother. I just don't know what's going on in the world, like what's happening out there. What are we doing like in this collective energy? And my IU, I'm just so grateful for them. And
Too.
since then, we've done rituals and things that have blown my mind. Like the fact that I can just gather with them and we can just plug into something, and that confidence of like they see me and they know me as this, so I can go out in the world and do this because like I've
Yeah.
already been witnessed by
Yeah.
these people
That's
that I really
beautiful.
trust. It's
Mhm.
another, like, it's another family. And if
Mhm.
I think that is like, I understand your spiritual path is that of like, it's yours to do, but I think it really activates and strengthens and goes so much deeper when you can then like be in that like circle and like
Yes, absolutely.
be witnessed and witness other people on theirs, right?
Mhm, absolutely. And I remember walking in and like I felt my Scorpio confidence that comes and goes. But like I like walked into that room and I was like, I'm a teacher. Like I'm practiced. I
Yeah,
understand this.
yeah.
Like I'm here to like kind of learn, but like I didn't understand. I really didn't know why I was there, Maddie. I was like, Maddie
Yeah.
said to come. I like mandalas. Let's hang out. Like I didn't know what was going on. And I remember sitting in the room and like having a little bit of not like arrogance, but like confidence. Like I know what I'm doing. Like I can talk this talk. I know how to be in the space. And like looking around the room, and there were people walking in there who were like literally just kind of, I guess you would say, kind of like coming out of the spiritual closet. You know, like
Yeah.
back home, no one even knew they cared about this. They didn't,
Yes.
they felt like channeling was maybe something they wanted to do, but couldn't quite touch it. Like all kinds of things were happening up. And I remember being like, that's different. Like we're not the same. And then we did the first practice where we open our Wiracocha and we put it over each other.
Mhm.
And I remember one of the women who was most like, I don't know if I should be here. And she wrapped me in her Wiracocha. And I felt like this cold breeze, but like a beautiful cold breeze, like run through my body. And I was like, girl, you are so meant to be here. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, teach me, what is that? And so that's so interesting. Like, you can walk in there being like, why am I here? I am
Mhm.
don't even belong. You can walk in there being like, why am I here? But I'm also a teacher. Like, you can walk into these rooms
Yes.
and like you said, you're called together with that group of people for a very
Yes.
specific reason. And
Yes.
you are mirroring each other in your growth and in your like, yeah, I don't know, witnessing the medicine bloom in them. And I think that's an
Mhm.
important thing. Like you do carry the medicine of the lineage, but really what Stephen talks about is this idea that like we all have, I think about it as like a song that we're here to sing. Like we all come
Mhm.
here with a very
Yeah.
specific song that like the universe is bereft without hearing
Yes.
yours. Like you're the only one
Mhm.
who can sing the song that way. And I think that
Mhm.
what happens in these initiations, in these like integrations, is you begin to hear your song more clearly and believe in its beauty, like believe
Mhm.
in its purpose, its beauty, its worth. And so to
Mhm.
witness, to feel that in yourself is beautiful, but then to witness that in these other women, for me, I keep saying all women because mine was all women. It's not always the case, but to witness
Yes.
that in these other women was like life-giving. No,
Yes.
like water on a dry day. It's like it just,
Mhm.
like, fed something in me that was so just I'm so
Yes.
grateful for it.
I'm so grateful. When you were first talking about it, my eyes were welling up with tears of just how grateful I am for, yeah, that IU, obviously like Stephen, the lineage, the things you're learning, but that IU, you just move through the world differently, like after
Totally.
going through this initiation together. And I will say, like, I had men in mind, and as part of like my healing. And we did, one of the things we do, like the rite of the womb, and we had the four men of the group anchoring the space. Oh my God, I could cry
Yes.
just thinking about it. And
Yeah.
like being held by like that masculine energy that wanted nothing but just to hold the energetic space for us was
Purity.
so incredibly healing. And I like those men, and we've had so much fun together. Like since then, like we've had parties, and we had a sleepover at this one guy Rick's house. Shout out to Rick in Tennessee, just one of the coolest. Like, and I was like, I just never. And our IU was a very interesting mixture of ages and
Yeah,
industries
us
and
too.
everyone. And we had like, and uh, so whoever you are, there's no like one type of person to go. But like you said, that I love that song analogy. It's exactly how I feel. Like this big tapestry, or like a big, like huge concert where like everyone is there to bring a beautiful song. And I think when you go, you can hear it, yeah, more clearly. That's the
Absolutely.
perfect way of saying it. And you really appreciate other people's, and you stop. For me, it was like so many things I got out of it, but I kind of just was able to trust myself after. Like I don't have to
100%.
look like someone else or do something like someone else. I can really like play that song like full volume and
Totally.
really just like that's what I'm here to do, right? And really trust
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, and it feels so good to know that. And I do think that for me, what it feels like is every day that compounds, like the clarity around that compound. So that's the other beautiful thing is that so you go in the way that Stephen's school is structured, it's like 18 months, and you go the first weekend, it's an integration weekend around the south direction, right, Maddie?
Hmm.
No.
Yes, south is
Yeah, south.
first, right?
Okay.
Serpent,
Serpent.
yes.
And then you go through and you do all the work around the serpent energy. Then you take a break for like, I think it's like 3 months, and you
Mhm.
integrate the work that happens in those 3 months at home.
Mm.
You're constantly hearing from Steven, like there's constant like
Mhm.
communication and practices being offered you. You really doesn't talk about, you kind of practice the practices and then he teaches them to you in the time after, which is just a really interesting way to do it, but so powerful. And then you go through each of the four directions, and then it's all about like the integration. Then you kind of graduate at the end of that.
Mhm.
But there's like, I have not, there's work, I have like my binder. I have work in there, like practice I still haven't done. Like there's work in there
100%.
that I could be doing for another 5 years, just FYI. The other important thing to say is that like Maddie and I both kind of work in the world of spirituality and teach and all of that. But there are plenty of people in my IU who don't.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
there are women who work in corporate jobs. There's
Yes.
people who do all kinds of other things, who are moms who for a million reasons are there. And so this isn't, you may do this because you want to teach. You may do this because you want to like
Mhm.
bring this to the world in some kind of offering around this. But it might also just help you blossom into a more full version of what you already are doing and what you already love.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to kind of say that out loud. It's not like you
Yes.
have to do this. It's not
Yes.
like you're getting now you have to be a shaman, right?
No,
Like,
and you don't have to even exactly, like, it's just here to liberate something in you and illuminate something. Like, it's like,
absolutely.
okay, like, just go forth and be that, like, most, luminous being, that, like, freest being, version of you that could impact again, like, yeah, we had people in ours that were in corporate and fashion, people who were, you know, figuring out what they were doing. And like, again, people
Artists.
have
Yeah.
heard me talk about, I don't like go forward in the world and be like, I'm a shaman. And like, it's very much like a personal practice to me. I do bring it into some of my work with my mentees, or why I'm grateful for it too is, I think a lot of people have that heart of service. I have been so grateful to be like, when someone comes to me with something, because I know it's not just me, it's the lineage.
Yes.
If I need Steven's help years later, I have pinged him and been like, hey, someone's coming to me and I feel a little like out of my depths, or can you like hold the space with me or
Yes.
remind me of like what is the practice? And he is so right there. And I have my binder of my
Mhm.
practices. And I sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, there's still so much that I have to, and my, forever perpetual student loves that part of it. But it's just like, yeah, however you want to show up, if it's just more clear, if it's more grounded, if it's more confident, if it's more just alive, then it offers something to you. And I think that's also, by design of what we talked about, ahead of the call, was like Stephen felt this call to do this, got the permission from Alberto, and was like, this is the time right now. Like, again,
Yes.
like when I was there in 2017, he's like, okay, something's coming. But I was like, no, stuff has already happened. We've already gone through stuff. And then I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, I get it now. Then I'm like looking at the astrology and I'm like, okay. So it's like, he really wants us to be like keepers, right, of the earth, good stewards of this earth, and like the doulas and the birthers of this like next, different paradigm we can live in. And sometimes that feels really like, what does that mean, or is that daunting? But then I watch at how each of my IU is living, and their
Yes.
impact and their ripple effect, and just how they show up energetically and regulated and grounded. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
working. It's
Yeah.
working. Like this.
100%. And also the thing, one of the things that I really was a gift is, and I think you can touch on this in work like family constellations, you can touch on this in other places. But what I really felt was like the falling away of all of the skins that I wore that weren't mine, right? I really felt
Mhm.
like the falling away, like you don't, we are our epigenetics, right? Like we do kind of take on these movements and these like, yeah, just I guess habitual movements that we've been taught that aren't always in alignment with who we want to
Mhm.
be, what we're working on. We kind of
Mhm.
can kind of hold some old stuff. And there was a lot of the gifting that I received from that time was to be able to see what wasn't mine and to be able to make peace with it
Mm.
and gift it back to whoever, wherever
Mhm.
it came from, and then to have them fully receive it and bless me to be free, like bless me to
Yes.
walk the path as Kirsten, like in the way that I need to do it with my own
Yes.
craziness, but it's mine.
Yes. It's mine.
you know so I just think that that's another really just important thing to think about. And I do, like you said, like I've said, you can think about this And that's great. And there's obviously information out there. But on Stephen's website, I put a page on my website just to kind of make it really clear. But there is something about like answering the call, like hearing this as a call. And so
Yes.
I just want to encourage you to like, maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it. Maybe you've been thinking about it for a while. But like Maddie said, that's a prayer, right? Like, show me if this is
Mm-hmm.
what's meant for me. And
Mm-hmm.
make it so obvious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
make
Make
it
it so
so
obvious.
obvious that I can't, and
Yeah.
let me have the support I need to be able to make this happen. And I think
Yeah.
that prayer won't you won't go astray. Like if you're meant to be there. We're gonna host it at Salt Hostel. We're hosting it in New Jersey for the first time. So we're gonna have it at the Salt Cave,
Yes.
which will be amazing. The land there. The first time I talked to Stephen, he was like, "I'm so happy to talk to you because my trees were telling me about your trees." And that sounds crazy, but my trees on my retreat space land are like my besties. And so when he was like my tree, I was like, "Your trees are talking to
Yeah.
my trees. Like, get out of
Kirsten
here!"
had been talking to her trees and like giving me the updates from the trees for like years. And then so when Steven said that, I was like, oh yeah, he's plugged in.
So excited. I was like, I forgot they could talk long distance. I'm so excited. So like,
Yes.
so I just think that that's like something to.
It's such a beautiful, especially I know a lot of people who are in our realms or in the tri-state area or something. And so if you're looking for one that's also like a little bit of an easier lift, if that's close, or if it's far, it's a beautiful destination. And I have to say that, Kirsten, just her work with this land and her right relationship with this land and what this land offers, like it's what's so cool. It's like layers and layers, and like Steven's gonna do work, the eye is gonna do work, you're gonna do work, this land is gonna hold you. You are going
Yes.
to feel like whenever I'm at Southhouse, I feel like a little kid. Like I feel like lit up, like just so excited to play and be there and be in ceremony and be in, like, I always walk away with something that's like, and that's even like if I go for an afternoon with you to like drop
Yeah.
something off or like,
Yeah.
like I forget about being immersed in this medicine. And I think that like it's so special what, what's going on there, and then to gather there. And I do think that there, one of my teachers told me that, the whole area of New York City, it has like this, it's built on like a power grid of crystals, and it's amplifying energy. And, it's, an hour outside the city. And I always think about like this area we don't think of New York and New Jersey as like a spiritual portal. Like we think of like the spiritual portal places as like
Well,
Hawaii and
Shasta. Yeah.
right, right.
Right.
But I swear to God,
Swear to
the
God.
tri-state area, like the
Mhm.
Jersey, New York,
Mhm.
Long Island, is its own spiritual portal. So it's also like beautiful for just like the land holding you, and whatever. If you have something on your heart, like whether it's healing something in your personal like family story, creating some kind of art in the world, just wanting to show up as like, yeah, some kind of vessel for these times of some sort of positive forward movement. Like it's it's so mysterious, shaman school, and it's so
Yeah.
magical. So at some point, I literally told my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm at Hogwarts, but
Totally.
like the stuff that we're doing is literally like magic is real. And so it's very hard to.
Literally.
So it's like, but equally, it's hard to articulate like why you might want to go, because it could be for anything.
For anything.
And just like really, I love that you broke down to like the going to the sessions, going to the weekends, and then getting that homework and all the integration. I worried. I'm not the person who stayed. I think I had like 4,000 unopened emails,
Totally.
and like didn't get to all of them. And I'm like, is the work working? The work works, honey.
The
Like
work
the
works.
work works. Like you
Mhm.
just sign up, and your guides, your spiritual team, the lineage, your new like medicine keeper wisdom people are like, okay, they're ready, buckle up, let's go.
Like, I'm a nerd. I would like do all the extra, especially the first 3 times. Like I did all the homework and
Yeah.
I'd show up and I'd be like, I did all the homework. Like I'm like the worst. And I had people who would come in and they were like, I didn't even look at this since we were,
Yeah.
and it doesn't change anything. Like everyone's
No.
doing it the way they need to do it. And so that's a whole
Yeah.
other conversation. The
Yeah.
work works. You are planting seeds,
Yeah, you're planting seeds, and just like a seed, it has its own intellect, it has its own divine
Yes.
intelligence. So
Mhm.
don't worry about like, do I know enough? Am I gonna have enough time, bandwidth? Like Kirsten said, if it's that calling, everything else will fall into place. And like I could cry about just like how grateful I am that I like said yes and trusted, because a lot of times in life I have done the overthinking, or I haven't chosen to like invest in myself with like time and money that was just for me. It was something like, what is this doing for my business or people around me? And this was like one of the first things I ever did in my life, was like, okay, I'm going to do this for me. And I don't really understand it, but like it feels really right. And it just like, talk about like a quantum cosmic leap. Like it just brought me into a whole new timeline, frequency, way of being. And in terms of like reaching, if someone's interested now and they're like, okay, sign me up, or like, when is it? Do we have details of when it is, and who should they
Yeah.
reach out to?
I'll put like we can put maybe down below like the link to the
Yeah.
page on my website, which links to Steven's website, which is a little less. It's a
Yeah,
little.
just trust like how not glossy it is. Like anyone can have a glossy, and okay, like anyone can go through like ChatGPT, Canva, Squarespace, and have a gloss. Okay, okay, like the fact that Steven is this powerful and successful with, I think when I met him, his website was green on green Comic Sans, and I was like, what the actual hell is
Yeah, he's so
happening?
cute. I love
But like
him.
that's how good he is. Okay.
I did a web page just that was like literally like the dates, the
Yes,
cost, like
perfect, perfect.
all the
Right.
information, so that it's all in one place for people, so that you can kind of process it.
Thank
So
you.
we'll give them that, and then it'll tell you exactly. You kind of reach out to Steven and he'll talk to you. He'll have a
Yes.
conversation with you. People get intimidated because it'll be like you have to write a little one page thing or and have a conversation with Steven. You could write like a poem. You could write stream of consciousness.
Yes.
Like the whole, he knows, you know, when it's time to meet. And so there's
Yes.
not going to be like the beautiful thing about Sean, one of the beautiful things, right, is it takes this like undue
Yes.
pressure off our shoulders to be
Right.
something else, to like think that we can show up and it can be wrong, to think there's mistakes, to think like you're too
So
much, not
healing.
enough, blah, 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 blah. Like it want shaman school, like this medicine, Stephen, the world wants you, like wants you as you are. And this is like a beautiful kind of like trust fall to be like, this
Perfectly
is
said.
me. What do you think? And what you'll receive, even if you don't go to shaman school, you just have a conversation with Stephen, what you will receive from that is its
100%.
own, like people would pay money for that. It's like its own gift. It comes back to you so much. He's so cute. I love him.
Absolutely. He really is. He's who made me believe in the concept of like, or understand the concept of transformation by transmission. Like
Totally.
just by being in his
100%.
presence, because of how much of that work he's done on himself and how clear, like one consultation conversation, I remember it was like something I was like, wow, just in that. Cause I have that like, I had to heal from a lot of my like Virgo perfectionism, that schooling energy, like right versus wrong, and like having the right supplies and saying the right stuff. And that conversation I had with him, I was like, whoa,
Thank
whatever
you.
that is, I'm ready to sit at the feet of that and like
Yes.
learn more and like, okay. So beautiful. Thank you for having the like creating
He's so
a
cute. I sent
nice.
it to him, I was like, "I did a web page." He's like, "I love this." It's the best. But yeah, so that would be great. And I just think, and if it's not today, it's not now with Steven and
Yeah.
me and hopefully Maddie in New
Yeah.
Jersey. Like I know John and Dennis are still running
Yes.
cycles down in Nashville. And I just
Yes.
like hear the call and trust
Yes.
trust the door you want to walk through. I hope you want
Yes.
to walk the door with us, but I also like
Yes.
I have no doubt that if you're ready to find this, it's ready to find you. That's a mutual
100%.
conversation.
So well said.
100%.
Yes. And just the
Anything else?
fact, yeah, to be with you,
Oh
and I
yeah.
hope to be there. Like just again, like we're gonna have so much fun.
We're
So
gonna have
much
so much.
fun.
I can't
So
wait to
much
walk
fun.
through the wheel again. Like I can't wait to see what happens. And I mean, I really admire the life I said that John and Dennis have built, but I admire the life you've built too. And I find deep satisfaction in the life I've built, like in the life I'm
Mm,
building. I don't feel
100%.
complete yet, but I feel like
No.
deeply satisfied with
It's
what
a
I'm
beautiful
creating.
gift. It's a
Yeah, and
beautiful
it's
gift to just love your life in the day to day,
100%.
in the details, and find even the magic, in the things that should seem mundane. And I think that's like such a gift of shaman school, is like you really enjoy and you're present to your life in every moment. It's not just like these big, milestones you're looking forward to. And if you're ready to do that, then like this is your call. Pick up, baby. Pick up,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. I'll say one last thing. One of my deepest moments in shaman school was I am very like, I could go out there. Like I can go out there and I can go so many places so easily in my being. I hadn't really made peace with the gift it was to be in a body. And part of what we went through, like there's a specific rite that you do. And I really understood what a gift it is to be in a body. And there's something about that just like brought me home in a way that I'm eternally grateful for. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, right here I am. And there's no place I'd rather be. And I fought for that, but I also really credit the medicine for revealing that to me over and over again. If that makes sense.
The gift of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. And
So
what
cool.
a good body it is. And this Taurus rising. Yeah, there's so much Scorpio. She's like, I'm also a Taurus. Like, enjoy the body. You're here. Look at this beautiful body we gave you. Well, thank you for this conversation. And, wherever you're watching this, we'll have all the information below. And I'll also have my Instagram. If you have a question, slide in my DMs. Like I could talk about shaman school all day. And I'm so endlessly grateful for like the medicine of it, to Stephen, for all the people who walked this path before. And I just have nothing but like reverence and extreme, extreme gratitude.
Yeah, me too. I feel the same way. Thank you, Maddie, for making me go.
Thank you. Thanks. Yes, you're welcome. I know. I'm like, I don't force you to do a lot of things, but you need to go. You need to do this right now.
That's so good.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you everyone for listening, and
I love you, baby.
Wherever you are. I love you so much. I'm so grateful for you. Okay.
Do you love getting your Cosmic RX for the week here and want more? Make sure to sign up for our premium subscription so you can get exclusive access to bonus podcast episodes, all of my astrology info for the month ahead, and live new and full moon calls to help you manifest your dream life with an intentional international community of other cosmic baddies. Sign up through our link in show notes.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you want to know more about Cosmic RX, head on over to thecosmicrx.com. And if you really love this show, I'd love it if you left a rating and review on Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. I super love hearing from you and reading your reviews. All right, you cosmic baddie, tune in next week. And until then, remember, love yourself fully, work your magic, and take no shit.